What would you say is the most important reason for building a social circle when you relocate to a new city? So let's take, for example, someone, new guy, comes to a new city,
Hmm.
doesn't know anyone. How do you proceed?
Well, if you're new in town, like you don't know anyone, right? So you kind of feel lonely. You might know some people if you're working from your, colleagues, but you wouldn't know anyone, right? So I'm a social person. I like to be around people. So I would say it's very important to feel connected and have support in a
Mm.
new environment. For that reason, it's super important. Like, and that could come in different ways. What you're associated with, what your hobbies are. So that's why it's super important.
I mean, humans are a social creature. We need other connections. Even though you might be introverted and you're not like really outgoing, there's still something in you that craves those social interactions, and we need those to survive and prosper. Let's take this, for example, this new guy. He comes to this new city and he watches our videos and he hears you talking about how easy and important this is, but he doesn't know where to start. So, what could be some of the challenges that someone might face when he wants to build those new connections?
Well, if you don't know your city well, let's say if you move here for the first time, you wouldn't know where your type of people hang out with, right? So this is a
Mm,
challenge you would see. And to overcome that, I would say you can always start with what is the where the coolest people hang out with.
mm,
For example, in Black Swan system, we typically focus on people who are more on the affluent side, girls who are more on the attractive side, like eights, nines, and tens. Because I guess that's why you're watching this podcast, because you also want to be around those people. So just ask them where the cool parts are at, right? You can use your colleagues. Let's say if you go to work, just ask them, hey, where these cool places are at. And on base of that, you can pinpoint those locations, and then you can have like a rough hotspot map of your city. So this will already align you in the right direction.
I have to Google for those locations, or do I just look on Instagram, or what are the tools that I should heavily focus on in order to pinpoint those locations?
So Google won't tell you. Google is for
Mm,
those if you want to visit a city as a tourist.
mm,
So I would not recommend Google. People who are in the know, they know those places very well. What I would do is ask a hot colleague of yours, a
mm.
guy who's cool chat, what are the cool places to hang out on a Wednesday night, on a Saturday night, so that you have an idea. Second thing is just go to a bar, like a famous nightclub or bar or a restaurant, and ask people, hey, what are cool event locations where the cool parties are at, or where do such
Yeah,
people hang out?
yeah.
Because people in the gastronomy space, they are very good, or they have to be aware of these things because they are in that space. So Google is not going to help. Instagram, I mean, if you don't know anything, it's not a good start. I would say ask your current network, which is your work. Start going to restaurants in your neighborhood, and you will get a lot of information, intel about your city.
Okay, that's awesome. So I have to ask colleagues, so people I might know in that city, but what if I don't know anyone? Of course, I mean, it's fine to go to a restaurant and ask some waiter there, but what if you don't have the possibility to ask anyone that quick and easy? Is there a way to find out very fast what a good spot in a city is without having to ask someone in person?
You can always use Instagram rabbit hole. So what
Mm.
I would do, I would type in a city name on Instagram mobile app, and then you type in a city name, and then if you zoom out, you will see a lot of options like restaurant, nightclubs, cafes, and see at which locations a lot of girls or a lot of cool guys who are dressed nice are posting pictures. So if you see a lot of posts in a location, that will instantly tell you it's a location where cool people hang out. This is also how you can do research. This is like a very easy way.
And one thing I really like about Instagram, so when you use the mobile app, it's very easy. For example, if you type in your city name, so let's say Barcelona,
Mm.
and then when you search for pictures or pictures that are shown to you that are in Barcelona, you will of course see sooner or later some hot girls posing on the beach or whatnot. And if you follow those hot girls, if you check out their profiles, you will see, most probably see, that they will be tagged in other pictures, or
Hmm.
that especially clubs and bars tag them in their pictures. And so that way you can go down, like Ant said, the Instagram rabbit hole and niche down those locations where, as I like to call it, the cool kids go. And then you can find out, hey, this is some cool bar that you probably will never hear of unless you know some girl which is hot, who goes to that place?
If you go to cool locations, you will see some girls who are posting content, like some local bloggers. Another thing you can do, which works very well, is you type in hashtag city name, let's say Munich, and then you type in blogger.
Oh,
This way, you will find a few people who are content creators in your city, if it's a major city, right? Or you can type in just hashtag city name and then girl. Then this will give you a lot of intel. And then you go to their profile and then look for the places they're posting content at. What kind of restaurants they go to, what kind of cafes, what kind of events they're hanging out. So this will already give you a head start, which you won't find just using Google, because like Google doesn't know.
yeah.
It's catered for a different set of audience. We want to be in the cool people. We want to be very focused to a targeted approach. This is a better way
Yeah.
to go about it.
For someone who's not into the social circle game, this can sound like a lot of work. So you have to sit down, use Instagram, go down the rabbit hole. And a lot of people who are not really much into that game, they would, of course, go initially on those low hanging fruits like meetup groups on Facebook or meetup.com. And would you say they're good to use? So is there a way to utilize them in a way that pushes you up? Or would you say, hey, under any circumstance, don't use them? What's your take on that?
So meetup.com is a wonderful app if you are like scared shitless to talk to anyone. So I used to run a meetup.com group on my own for like 1 year. I use that. But it's for people who, it's like you are a nobody and you talk to a bunch of nobodies. Like it doesn't lead to anywhere, right? For example, when I was in that group, I felt like I'm the best person in that room. I told those guys, like it was like a men's self development group, whatever. I told those guys, okay, you have a problem. This is the solution to that problem. 3 weeks later, I repeat the same shit and it went over and over again. Like guys are looking for jobs and people are kind of low quality people who come there. Not every time. There might be some cool niche groups. It's a wonderful app to get to know someone, right? I mean, of course, it's a start if you don't know anyone and you want like a low resistance way to meet people. It's a good thing. I mean, I've used that. Sometimes I also, when I'm traveling, I just look for meetup.com, what events are happening, and you can just jump in, talk to people, maybe make some friends. So it's easier that way. It has low resistance, but you won't find the quality to be very high. But good to start.
So yeah, so places like meetup.com and those Facebook group events, these are places for, as I like to call it, socially broke people. So if you don't have anything else going on in your life, you don't have any friends, so then fine, go on Facebook, go on meetup.com, and then try to see to attend any social gathering. But most of the time, and I remember, so there's one very, very, very funny thing. I once knew a guy, this is like years ago, and he wanted to utilize Facebook friend groups to improve his social dating life. And so there are a ton of those singles group in Facebook, which are like totally cringe, full of creeps, super creeps, whatnot. And all those 50-year-old guys who post those selfies on Facebook, where you think like, what
That's
the fuck?
terrible, dude.
And he once attended one of those meetups, and he told me that it was one of the cringiest experiences that he had in his life.
Cringiest.
The cringiest experiences. So he tells me that those singles and that single group, they organized a meet, like hiking as singles in the hills, and then they like organized a bus, chartered a bus to go together to the hills. And he told me there were only older people, single moms, dudes who look ugly. Nobody was talking on the bus ride. When they were hiking on the hills, those conversations were like, yeah, do you like the weather? Yeah, yeah, I'm fine. Hey, do you like bread? And and then they were
Sky is blue.
the sky is blue. I mean, you get to know someone through groups like that, and even meetup.com. So, of course, utilize it. Me, myself, I attended one of those events on meetup.com as well, where it was a very well structured and organized meet for singles to know someone, to get to know new people in a new city. So this was their niche. But in the end, everyone knew why they were there. All the guys, they wanted to bang in the end. I mean, let's be honest here. And there were, from all the 50 people who attended
Yeah.
that, there were only like one or two hot girls.
What
So
do you
can
think of
imagine?
these speed dating
Yeah.
events?
So me personally, I never attended speed dating, but I know some people who attended those. The stories I heard, they're all the same. So they say, hey, they're mostly guys, only like one, two, or maximum three hot girls. So for every 10 girls, only one hot girl, if any.
I mean, like my experience, right?
Yeah.
If a girl is hot, she doesn't need to go to like dating anything,
Exactly. That's the point.
anything which has to do with which the words mentioned dating. She doesn't need to go there, because like in my experience, a girl who's attractive, 9 and 10,
Yeah.
even 8, she's never single. There's
Ah.
always a dude that she's ignoring, a couple that she's ignoring, or she's kind of dating, or it's complicated. One guy she's ignoring, other guys like ghosting her. She's never single, totally, right? So those girls, they don't need to go there. It might be like, you might find a unicorn at some point, but like 100 guys, like you're competing literally with 100 guys. That's not a very smart move to go to those events in the first place. Work on your charisma, learn how to talk, book a call with us. We'll teach you how, and fix your Instagram, and then learn how to network, how to build circle, association with the cool people, so you have better opportunities.
What should I then look for specifically if I want to meet cooler people?
What I was talking before. You need to figure out where the cool people hang out. In every city of the entire fucking world, they're always the cool people, the people. I mean, you have to first identify what is cool for you. Maybe you are into single moms, right? Depending on your age. Maybe you are into fitness guys. Maybe you are into techno, right? For example, for what I like to go to house music events. People, where they're dressed elegant, that kind of thing. That's my crowd. If you're into people who are into, drugs, fetish parties, that's a different crowd. So you have to first decide where your crowds hang out, and then ask them where cool parties are at. Let's say, depending on if you have decided what you want, identify 4 to 5 locations, and like out of those, the one which is like the closest to you or you like the most, start going there on regular basis every week for 1 hour, start getting to know people. Invite a friend, invite a colleague with you if you are starting from zero. Use dating apps to invite girls there, or just go alone. When you're there, talk to the manager, talk to the organizer, and start just showing your face. Later we'll talk about how to always lead with value, but you don't want to be the guy who's asking for too much in the beginning. Just showing up at a venue is enough in the beginning for 1 or 2 locations. You need to know what are the 5 restaurants which my target audience hangs out. You need to know what are the 5 party or like the clubs where I want to hang out. What are the daytime clubs? What are the 5 cafes? What are the 5 shopping streets? So it's a rule of 5 which applies everywhere. Find a location where you can go on a Wednesday night or a Thursday night. These are called after work. It's like a weekend before the weekend, right? Weekend starts from Friday or Saturday, but sometimes there are a lot of cool events happening during the week. So I would also start going there if you can do it on a weekend. So then you will start to see a different kind of crowd, a lot of local people. If you live in a big city, then on weekends you're also probably more likely to interact with people who don't live in the city, but under the week, during the week, much more likely you'll meet a high quality people who are going to these events to get to know people during the event, like under the week, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, that kind of.
Who wants to live in a village? All right. So one very important thing would be to have good logistics, right? But even a village with 1,000 people, even that place has some cool spots where the cool kids go. And even if you want to be the G of your village, then you should apply the same principles that we teach here to become the G of your village, right? And so there's in every city, every village, there's something where the cool people tend to go. And that's why Instagram is such a wonderful tool to find those out, because people are constantly sharing their stuff on Instagram. So nobody goes to meetup.com and shares a selfie video of them partying in one club or something, but everyone does that on Instagram. And the good thing about that is you can track everything down, pinpoint everything, and then find out where that place is and then go there.
Another thing you can do, Max, which works quite well, it's also the way I got started and like met Booyah and like got into Perfect Runway. This is like exactly how I found it, right? So you need to be following 30 to 40 content creators in your city. The guys who are blogging, they post content, where the cool stuff is, like they're partying, they're influencers, like
Yeah.
models, bloggers, or people who make content and like they have a bunch of following, like 20K or above, right? You need to be following 30 to 40 of those. Even if you don't do anything, just watch their stories on a regular basis. They kind of know each other. And after a while, you will see a pattern. They go to the same restaurants, they meet the same people,
Yeah.
and they go to the same parties. So it's like a very passive way to consuming content and learning about the city that
Yeah.
you are that want to go, because like they all go to the same places. I mean, even in Munich, we know that where to exactly go on a Tuesday, on a
Yeah.
Wednesday, on a Saturday, because like there's not so much to do, depending on, of course, our target audience. But if you are in a meetup.com, then you're still looking for where to go. People at the top, like the top 5% cool people, they go to the same places. So it's so easy to network with them. But if you are struggling at the bottom, like if you're hungry for food, then you have a lot more option, big option to choose from. But at the top, there's less options. Everyone knows everyone. So it's so easy to go to those places and connect with people. And with time, you will see, you will start getting to know people. And you will see as you get, we call it mere exposure
Yeah.
effect or familiar face theory. That means if you go to same location every Wednesday, people just start liking you for no reason. It's because they have seen you enough time and they
Yeah.
trust you, and you have social proof all of a sudden.
Yeah.
So it's an easy thing.
Yeah. And that's again why Instagram is such a great tool. Everyone is sharing those experiences on Instagram. Nobody is sharing that on Facebook or TikTok or YouTube, but everyone wants to share it on Instagram. And you can track those places down very, very well when you follow those very important people. What's your best advice for making meaningful connections in those high value social settings? So let's say you managed to pinpoint a cool location. Now you're there, now you're standing there by your own and you don't know what the fuck to do.
Okay, so there are different ways you can go about it, right? So let's focus on a few. If you are a boring guy, then this might not work for you. But like the easiest way is just be a fun guy. Like it's also called break report. Learn how to crack jokes, make people laugh. If you don't know how to do that, second way is like always lead with providing value. How can you provide value? You can provide value by solving someone's problem, right? If there's an event happening, you can always reach out to people, the managers. Hey, I love your event. I love what you're doing. I really totally stand for your mission, and I would like to help you out in any way possible. You can be a volunteer there. You can help them out with their marketing, like invite people, do some friends. But let's say if you're meeting an influential guy, the guy who has followers, like kind of a famous person. So what you want to do, talk to that person, is not about what he's known for, but like you have to like do some homework before going there, right? For example, if you meet a guy who has won Forbes 30 and a 30 award, or a guy who is like kind of a celebrity, well known. So you need to find information, intel that is lesser known about him, but he is like very close to his heart. Let's say if you find out like he likes to go to a very specific restaurant, they like a very kind special kind of tea, or he likes to play, I don't know, badminton or some random shit, right? If you start talking to him about that thing, then you kind of open him up in a different way, and he's going to be more engaged compared to if you start talking to him about, okay, help me with my business, help me grow my Instagram, help me get better at being more confident. They feel like, okay, another person eating my head. So
Yeah.
it doesn't feel like a conversation. You have to do the work up front. So those people feel like, okay, this guy actually puts an effort. He knows also like it's a contrast thing, because like then you stand out. That person, okay, cool man. This is something I like to talk about. I'm a geek at this. So he's more likely to invest in the conversation, and then the connection that you're going to build is
Yeah.
going to be much, much better.
Yeah, and it's very important to keep in mind how you communicate to those guys. So don't come up to those guys and be a fanboy. Like, hey, I saw you on Instagram. I watched all your stories. Can I help you? Can I help you? Or can you bring me in? So no, this is like, even though you're trying to give value, you have a very taking energy, right? So I remember once we were at this secret party thing,
Yep.
and you saw one very high level looking guy, and you told me, hey, this is like the manager of that club or the owner of that club, da 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 da. I remember we were coming up to him saying, hey, we like your party. We're event hosts as well. Do you want to come to our event? Or if you, even if you don't have any event, you can always say, hey, we're event hosts as well, we have experience. Or even none of that, you can always say, hey, do you need help sometime? Glad to help you out. Saying straight away you're trying to offer value without being like this fanboy, which those people who are at the top usually have a ton of.
And also, like, if you meet a guy who's kind of famous, is well known, never ask, hey, can I take a picture with you? Because, like,
Mm,
it destroys the frame. I
yeah.
know, like, if you post a picture, you're going to look cool, but he also knows that. So don't act like a fan. You can do it at a later point, in your relationship, because, like, he also sees you equally. If you start with that, hey, can I take a picture with you? This is going to set the frame in a very wrong way. Let him do that. All this happens. I don't like to
Yeah.
take pictures with the guys initially. Of course, later when we become friends, it's a natural thing because like you like to also share
Mm,
stories with your
yeah.
friends. Also something
Yeah.
I like to mention.
Me as an entrepreneur, I fucking hate outbound. I fucking hate cold acquisition. And this sounds to me like a ton of work that I have to do upfront, cold acquisition. So isn't there a way to attract other people in my city? Because in that case, you or this new guy got attracted to go somewhere. Is there a way for me to leverage Instagram or maybe other platforms to showcase my stuff and to attract other people?
I mean, if you are a guy who's above average, who's attractive, and then who's able to go on dates with like some girls, right? What I would do if I was a new guy, I would start date a girl, or I mean, invite a girl out from a dating app like Bumble, Hinge, etc., and then ask her to bring her friends with her. So like it's like me and like two or three girls, and like whenever you go out with like a couple of girls, it's much more easier to get attraction, right? So people look at you, okay, who is this guy? Like he seems to be having this cool social life, out with girls and things like that. So this is also something you can do. Of course, when you land in a new city, you won't have these kind of things. But I would start with that. Like start with having female friends. So we talk about heavily in the future episodes how to make female friends, how to go about that, why is that important, and how that is going to making you very contrasting. So when you are hanging out with attractive girls, things good things start happening to you. Other girls want to be know you. Other guys are like, hey man, I love your business. What do you do? You're like, yeah, I do business. It depends, man. Like, I would just focus on that.
Yeah, there's a big difference in businesswoman and woman business.
I remember this incident, like a short anecdote. We were at a party. It was like very tightly packed. So I'm like, hey, let's go get some fresh air. So I go out. I'm standing out, on the street. I mean, outside of the club, and we are like, I'm here, like I'm surrounded by three girls, like who are well dressed, looking very attractive. And this guy comes up to me, random guy. He's like, hey, bro, what business are you in? Because he sees me standing with three girls. I'm like, okay, what the fuck? What is this
Yeah.
effect? I'm like, bro, so it's like 2 a.m. in the morning. I'm like,
Yeah.
hey, you see that McDonald? I work over there. Of course, I just wanted to be funny. He's like, bro, I want to do the same business. What business are you doing? So of course, like guys come up to you. I
Yeah.
mean, a lot of investors are like this way.
Yeah.
I've been able to network with a lot of cool guys. What kind of guys are girl reacting to positively, right? A guy who's either kind of rich, he's famous, or he's like magnetic. He has like a presence. So those kind of guys, like girls want to, be around with. Either they're high status or they're kind of cool guys. So it's a good sign. Like if I see a guy surrounded by girls and not only surrounded, but they are reacting to him like in a positive manner, it's a good sign. The good things are happening to that guy.
Yeah, it's a very funny thing to see how much will happen to you if you're surrounded by girls as a guy. So when people see you surrounded by girls, they instantly associate things with you. Hey, there must be something going on with that guy that he is surrounded by girls. And it's not that you necessarily use those girls in a very superficial way to get something. Of course, you have to develop friendships with them in order to have a situation like that. But it helps you in a way to bring you on the radar of those people, because if you weren't surrounded by girls, you would just be one of many other people
Yeah.
and you wouldn't be noticed by those high influential people. But if you look like there's something going on with you, then people will take note of that.
If you're watching this, you're like, okay, how the fuck do I get girls? Like, how do I make friends? Of course, that will come later. So you might not be there yet, but we're just like telling you how
Yeah.
it is going to change your like dynamics drastically, right? So right now we are more concerned with, hey, how can I start making those connections? Kind of like form a tribe in a way initially.
Yeah. Sounds like girls are a boost to boost you up for social interactions.
It's
Is there a way that I can use that for social media to use girls in any way to boost up my social media profiles?
Yeah, sure. I mean, for example, let's say if you are if you are a guy who's like below average, right? And the girls or other guys don't perceive you that way. So what you can do is like you can post so-called pre-selection photos. Just go to Max's profile. He's like even more extreme than me, right? I try to not tone it down a bit. So for example, if a girl thinks this guy is not my type, like he has never been with a hot girl, like think of it like that, right? So she's associating, putting in a box. So she thought of it, thought of you in a different way. But then when you exchange Instagram and then okay, damn, his life is surrounded by the girls who are like 2 times, 10 times more attractive than me. So it kind of instantly breaks rapport. It kind of tells people, okay, this guy is like different, right? So I'm not telling you, like post picture of like 10 girls here, 10 girls there.
Yeah.
Just to kind of portray a lifestyle, it's like low effort for you. Of course, we teach you how to do that.
Yeah.
Also, we'll have a different episode on that, how to do it differently. But what you said before, how to boost your profile, how to boost your social media, is just post content of you having fun with the girls who look attractive.
Yeah.
This will be shown to other girls, and then they will, in their head, you are like a positive
Yeah.
trigger.
Yeah.
So people having fun, who look attractive,
Yeah.
who are cool, and then you are there also. So it's like association, which is very, very important for you as a you're kind of building a brand in a way.
Yeah, yeah, sure. And when you post those pictures, let's say there you have a group shot with a bunch of girls. When you tag them and you reshare that post in your stories, and those girls might reshare that in their stories, you will be seen by other people, and this builds those connections, right? And of course, pay attention to that those pictures aren't too staged. I mean, it's fine to stage some pictures for the beginning, but again, it's called social media for a reason. So your pictures should look candid, social, which gives the viewer more a snippet of your life without you having
Yeah.
to stage too much. So let's say you connected with some of those guys. So let's say you go to one of the venues, you manage to connect with the guys. What would you say is the key strategy for maintaining and deepening one of those new social connections?
Okay, so what I will do if I meet a guy one time, next time I meet him, I will have an interaction with him. I might have a conversation with him, right? So what I would do is after I've seen him like a couple times and we have had some conversations, then I would start inviting him or her to a different, like a separate container event, we call it. Let's say you meet a guy at this club, right? It's a house music club or it's an art gallery or something like that. And you see him as a regular visitor there. He's a cool guy, you like him, he likes you, that kind of thing, right? Then you can say, hey, by the way, this coming Sunday, I mean, me and Max, we love brunches because bitches love brunch. there's a song of that. Because, like, it's so easy to set up. Like, it's kind of wild, man. So you think of it, hey, girls just come to hang out with you and, like, they pay for their own food. It's like a mind bending concept.
Yeah,
I mean, and you can, like, if you vibe well, I mean, you can eat
yeah,
food and then you can plan things from there. There's so many times I've been able to kind of use brunches as like a lead generation, for my
yeah,
own personal life.
yeah,
And you can do the same thing with guys. Hey, by the way, this weekend we are doing X. That could be going to hiking. That could be going driving to the lake. That could be going for restaurant or cafe or going to some other party. So same thing if you meet a guy at the gym, right? So the first thing is like don't do it initially when you meet a guy first time, depending on how the interaction goes.
yeah,
After you had some interactions with him, couple of interactions, you can exchange Instagram. That's why Instagram is the step one,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
We focus heavily on that. And once you do that, just start inviting people to a common occurrence. This could be brunch, this could be, eating out, going to a club, doing some other activity. We build our connections on the commonalities. So figure out what the guy likes and then start kind of collecting your leads
yeah.
to a common thing.
And especially with guys, if you invite them to a social gathering where there are mostly girls or it's full of attractive and interesting people, and you invite him for that, he will feel that he owes you something because if you're offering him some value and it's something that you would do anyway. So it's not depending on him. So this initiates fear of missing out in him. So when maybe he has seen your stories before that. So let's say you connected to a guy and for like 1 or 2 weeks he's stalking your stories. He sees you being surrounded by girls and he will think, all right, this dude has something going on there. And when then you invite him, he will think, hey, damn, I want to go there. So if I don't go there, I miss something out. And then if I go there, damn, I owe that guy something.
I mean, definitely. Like, if you have a cool life, like this is the easiest way to connect with other guys, right? Just do a bunch of cool shit. Like, a guy who has made a bunch of money, right? Guess what else he wants besides money?
Yeah.
He wants to be surrounded, like, even if he's married, he still wants to be surrounded by girls who are attractive. But it might sound like a very, you know, like a like a sexist person saying that, but I mean, we men, we just want to be surrounded by girls all the time, right?
Yeah.
It's like a thing we just like. I feel happy when when
Yeah,
I'm like surrounded by attractive girls.
it's just female energy and doesn't necessarily mean that you want to have sex with all of them. That's not the point. You can gather so much new energy you get out of your head if you're surrounded by beautiful girls and you just enjoy the social interactions with them without having something in your back head.
Also, it goes to the book from Dan Bilzerian. He's like the way he was meeting lots of billionaires, lots of multimillionaires. He was like he would invite a bunch of hot girls, very hot girls, to his mansion, to his house, and then they would play poker. And the guy would just come there to that they like the environment of being surrounded by girls like that. So if you want to network with the top G's, follow these videos for free value, and like just apply these principles and like see you will make like so many good connections because like you cannot provide those guys more value in terms of finances, right? Those people at the top, they are looking for more experiential stuff. These are like good experiences that you can give them because you cannot buy these experiences everywhere, right? So this is how you make valuable, and not only with girls, but also to network with guys who are doing cool things in your city. It's a very cool thing to be inviting them also to cool occasions.
Most of the time they just want to have a calm energy where it's where nothing else has to do with their business.
Yeah, I remember it goes back to the first day I met Buya. So Buya is the guy. He's very well known in. We'll have a podcast with him at some point as well. So he's doing biggest events in fashion in our city, right? I saw that he's testing out a new concept. It was like a fitness plus clubs. So like a party in the fitness studio, right? I went there. I kind of helped them out with the content creation. I just used my phone. Like I have this phone here, right here. I just used it, and I became a volunteer. And that connection allowed me to enter the top circles of Munich in like very fast way. I got access to guest list of biggest fashion show. We got access to Halloween party and so many other events just because of one connection. If you start providing value to people who are doing cool shit, good things will start happening to you as a result. Just like you give out to 10 guys, 7 out of those are going to reciprocate. Of course, it's not 10 out of 10, but this is like the, I would say, pivotal moment. Because like I started meeting very cool guys. I think this also where we met second time, perfect runway.
Yeah.
You were doing content there. So I would say this was the pivotal moment for me.
Yeah.
Because I provided value to someone without expecting. Of course, I mean, I was expecting I would make a connection, but it kind of helped me accelerate building a circle, getting into the cool circles quite faster.
Is there something you would people suggest to definitely avoid? Because I can really imagine that, especially when it comes to social interactions, there's a lot of things that you can do right and good, but at the same time, there are definitely a lot of things that someone can do wrong, especially when you're not well suited with social game. Is there something you would suggest people to avoid?
Don't talk too much about business with a guy. If you meet a guy like who talks about business, like if you know you can get value, I would not start with that. Especially in Europe, the culture is different. So a lot of guys like who follow guys from the US, you know, in social circuit game, because the same principles don't apply in Europe. That's specifically the reason because in US people live to work, right? So they want to work, their hustle mentality. But people in Europe, I tested it. Like if you talk to guys about business, like we went to like a car club, you know, things like that. They don't like to talk about business that much, right? They are there to have fun. So I would not, especially with the guys, I would not do that. And with the girls as well, like have a fun mood, you know, talk about not weather, but like something interesting, like psychology, human dynamics. What do men like to talk about? Men like to talk about how to make more money, different ways to make more money, educate, like women. These are the topics that are always good. You know, some special things like cars.
Yeah. Yeah.
Talk about those topics, and also don't be a clingy guy. good things start like take time to happen. I mean, we were not like became bros like from the first time we met, right? So it took us like a couple of weeks, a few months to get to know each other better. That we started hanging out regularly.
Especially when it comes to social gatherings and social events where the context is not about business. It's very, you're walking on ice when you talk too much about business to a guy. That's what networking events are for, right? So you have to really see what's the context of that event.
Also, networking events, man. Like I found like the quality of people, unless if it's like a very highly paid event, you won't find quality people there. Especially, I used to go to the startup events expecting cool people to
Yeah.
meet. Like guys who are running successful companies, they don't fucking hang out there. It's like some guys who are looking for jobs or guys who have like
Yeah.
not like some idea. I
Yeah.
went to a couple of those. Like, okay, I have this idea. I will not
Yeah.
tell you my idea. I'm like, dude, do you have any business? No, but I have this idea. It's like $100 million idea. I will not let it out, right? So you meet those people.
Yeah.
Like think of if you want to meet even like guys who are super successful,
Yeah.
just go to the festival. Like you will meet those guys on backstage of some Tomorrowland festivals, like some
Mm.
famous festivals or like nightclubs, table sections.
Yeah.
So these are places to network with the guys who are also
Yeah.
successful.
So I experienced the same thing. So when I was as a video producer at those networking events, and there are a bunch of them in Germany, so there are a bunch of well-known business consultants here in Germany, and if you attend their events, the people that attend their events, I mean, let's be honest, they're just there to sell you their shit, and that's it. So if you want to get new clients on those events, you can do that. It definitely works, but expect to be sold from others as well. Expect to people come to you and want to take value from you. So and this goes for a business event as well as it goes, for example, for those speed dating events.
It's the
So
same thing,
so it's the
same
same thing.
concept.
So the context is set. This is a network event. So why do people go there? To network. This is a speed dating event. Why do people go there? To speed date. And this ultimately puts one, pressure in you to perform, to come up those expectations. And second of all, it shows that you're looking for something, that you're desperate, be it either money or like dates. But if you just go to a social event, where it's maybe a very cool DJ who's playing in town. And then, like Ann said, you see that one business guy who's maybe making millions of euros each year, him dancing around behind it in the DJ booth. That's not a very uncommon thing. That happens, and this is exactly the place where it's the best to network with them.
If you have like a bunch of female friends around you, that's even better. If you have resources to invest in like a bunch of these exclusive clubs, these membership clubs, that's even better. Because like the more you pay, generally, you have to like do some homework. What kind of people are there? Generally, like the more filtered it would be, right? I know some guys who never paid $10 to go into a nightclub. So I mean, what can you expect from there, right? So I would go to these running clubs, different members club in your city, because like the quality of girls generally is much higher, and especially as I mentioned before, start going to cool restaurants, meet guys there, make some connections there, rooftop bars, things like that. You will know the quality of people who hang out there.
Where can our listeners go and find more detailed guidance or resources on this
Just
topic?
check out our social medias, like your social media, Max Todd himself. My social media is Ans Khalid M. Right? We'll have our business accounts in a short while. But if you want to work with us directly, man, just go to the link on the description of this call, book a call with me or someone in my team, and we'll walk you through exactly how we can implement everything that we talked about in your situation, how we can help you build a social circle, especially if you are based in Europe. I mean, we do have clients in US, in Bali as well, right? If you want that, we can help you accelerate that. Of course, I mean, you can keep on watching these free videos, but they can come so far along. So if you want to work with us directly, we can help you build that in a much faster way. In a few weeks, you can be so far ahead. This is how you can meet people that are not on dating apps that you will not be able to fucking cold approach your way in. We can help you do that, get there, because this is what we're doing, man.
Socializing is a very systemized way, and if you do it correctly and implement the systems that we teach you at Black Swan System, you can build up an amazing social circle with lots of beautiful girls, influential people within just a few weeks if you follow the step-by-step process.
And
Right.
talk about business, Max. Like, how many clients have you acquired for your business by just
Yeah.
socializing?
Yeah, yeah. I just acquired a lot of very good clients just because I was at some fashion show. And the fashion show had nothing to do with the contract that I then signed, but it was just getting to know that guy who then I just started to build up a connection and then just ended up in a business contract.
Sure. I mean, like guys who follow this program, they find career growth because
Yeah.
like they meet the right guy at the right point, right?
Yeah.
Business clients, dating options. So everything relates back to social circle. Like the guys were thinking, hey, it's like a one-time thing. No, it's like a investment that
Yeah.
you're making. Of course, you have to be more. You can have like seasons where you are more
Yeah.
proactive about it, and sometimes less. But it's like building your own little startup.
Yeah.
So if you invest time in this, you can. It's like building a circle is like farming, and you won't have to start from zero,
Yeah.
right? Well, next time we'll do a debate. So also your circle was cold approach. What is difference? And then of course we can jump into that. But it's good for now.
All right, awesome. Then that's it for this episode. So I hope you guys had a lot of fun. Ton of value that we had in this episode here. And so stay tuned for the next episode and see you soon.
Ciao for now.